My name is Josh Miller. I own Riverstone Kennels, and I've been training gun dogs for more than 16 years. I have field trialed, I've hunt tested, but at the end of the day, I'm a duck hunter. You might find that the duck in our Duck Dogs podcast is spelled uniquely. The UK stands for my British Labs. I love my British Labs. I love what they offer me, both as a part of my family and the high motor in the field. As you're going to find, I have some pretty special dogs. Follow along in our podcast series here as we talk about both in the field hunting and in the field training situations that will hopefully help you progress with your dog at home. Welcome back to another episode of Duck Dogs, everybody. I'm your host, Josh Miller. And before we get going, of course, we need to thank our wonderful sponsors that make this show possible. So thank you to DUK. DUK Premium Performance Sport 3020 is the blend of food that I have my dogs on here at home, here at the kennel, and also as we finish up our season at the Pheasant Ranch, is just a very high-quality premium food to have your four-legged hunting partner on. I would highly recommend www.yukanuba.com, specifically the 3020 blend for any of you with high working dogs. They also have a 2616. Love the Puppy Pro just across the board. Go check out Yukanuba. Also, thank you to Lucky Duck. Lucky Duck is your 5-star crash test rated kennel, both in the intermediate and the large size. So no matter how big or small your hunting partner is, you can make sure that they are traveling as safe as they possibly can. Also, they have the fan, the kennel cot, the orthopedic bed. There's so many things that they have. Go check out www.luckyduck.com. Also, thank you to Gun Dog Supply. Gun Dog Supply is your one-stop shop for all of your hunting and training needs for your dog. They're great people, great product selection, great customer service. I can't say enough good things about them. And they're one of the very few shops you can go to that they're dedicated to 100% what we're passionate about in our gun dogs. So www.gundogsupply.com. Also, thank you to Kent Cartridge. Kent is the shotgun shell of choice that we use both in the field upland hunting, but also waterfowl hunting as we wrapped up waterfowl season down in Arkansas. Love the bismuth. I've actually been shooting bismuth in the upland field as well, and I just cannot say enough good things about it. So www.kentcartridge.com. Also, thank you to Sitka Gear. Sitka Gear is your premium option for outdoor clothing. As you head into training season, they also have outdoor or everyday wear, rather. So we all know about the premium layer selections that they have for getting in the field during the fall and the winter, but also just great everyday wear. So as you head out training, they have you covered there as well. www.sitkagear.com. And also thank you to Retriever Roadmap. Retriever Roadmap is your go-to option for training your own dog at home. Video-based library, great community. It'll walk you through step-by-step, training your dog from a puppy all the way through your advanced training. And right now, Retriever Roadmap is running a special, a spring training special that takes the $199 initiation fee completely off. So it costs nothing to get into it. You jump right into just your small monthly payments as you go through the program. It has never been more efficient, more cost effective to get in. So go check out Retriever Roadmap. Take advantage of that spring training promotion, and it waives the $200 initiation fee completely. So go check that out. www.retrieverroadmap.com. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you're off to a fantastic start to your day. I am here, joined with me by Erin.
Hello.
And so we're sitting here in the podcast studio, and we have a few things we want to cover. And the first thing that, before I kind of get into the meat of what we're going to talk about, I want to dig into obedience. And I know we're kind of jumping right into this. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to share this weird story from today. I haven't told you about this, Erin.
Oh, I'm excited.
I wouldn't be overly excited because it's not that great. So I'm dropping my kids off at school this morning, and I go, and they go to a small private school, drop them off, and I'm leaving school, and I take like this turn to go back to the main road, and the main road is really busy, especially in the morning, everybody going to work, right? And I'm going up the road, and I'm like, there's no stoplights at this intersection, but I know if I go one over, I'll hit stoplights, and it's just easier. Like, It's a main street kind of an area, so like I can't see up and down the road. It's just a complete pain of an intersection. So I'm like, I'm gonna go down to take a left-hand turn, go back to where the lights are, and I turn and I'm like in a neighborhood, right, a block away from my kid's school.
Yeah.
There's kids walking up and down. I turn and I look in, I just like look over at this house, and I see a naked man standing with his coffee cup, watching what I presume is watching TV. And I'm like, what the freak is like? I mean, like, I get it, like, ease into your morning, but at least close the shades. My God.
Just standing in the front window or what?
Yes. Like, and it's a gray house. It's a big double pane window.
Yep.
And he was right there. And I'm like, what is wrong with people? Like,
that's so bad.
Is there something to be said about that? Like, people just lose complete wherewithal of there's no self-awareness. I'm just going to be me. Everybody else can do it around. Like, unbelievable. I literally was in my car and I was like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Like, and I promise you, like, what I saw, you can't unsee.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I would be scarred.
Yeah,
sure.
you can't just like move on from that and be like, oh, the rest of the day will be normal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I hope his day is off to a great start then.
It was off to a better start than mine because I had to see it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's how my day started.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, getting past that.
Yes.
I don't know why I felt the need to share that, but I did feel the need to share it. Okay, so obedience. I just want to hit this real quick before we get into the meat of what we're going to talk about, because I have just, this is spring training time. So I played baseball in college. Your husband played baseball in college. And actually for the same school, which is kind of cool. We'll talk about that a little later, actually. But my favorite part of every season was spring training. I love going down to Florida. Loved like the new energy that the new season brought.
Yes.
There was always like a couple new faces, which I think added, to that energy. I just love. There's something so exciting about the newness of a new season. Right.
Definitely.
And would you say that was the same for Brady?
Yeah.
Love that part of it.
Yeah. We didn't meet we met our junior year of college. So, and then that was senior year. I don't know. I can't keep track, but he's a pitcher, and his season got canceled because of COVID, his last. So I didn't get to see him play very much, but I knew like he loved the spring training. Yeah.
There's just so much about it. And I think there's even at a heightened level up here in the north because you've been stuck inside. It's snow, super cold. And then like there's just something about like the thought of green grass and the thought of, and then like for us, we always got to play in the Metrodome.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm dating myself. Like it doesn't seem like the Metrodome was that long ago.
Yeah.
But we got to play inside, right? So it was like you got to play on the Twins field. It was a cool thing. I don't know. The whole thing was just like there was something about spring training.
Yeah.
I feel that there's a very synergistic feeling with dog owners, gun dog owners specifically, in spring training. I think there's an excitement. I think there's an energy. I think it's great. That's why I'm doing this spring training promotion with Retriever Roadmap, because we sat down. I think you were actually part of this meeting. We sat down and we talked about like, how do we help as many people as possible? Because that, quite frankly, is why Retriever Roadmap is here. And of all people, Shaquille O'Neal is who I heard say this.
Okay.
Have I ever told you the story?
No.
So when we actually came up with the $29 a month for Retriever Roadmap, we were thinking it was going to be like $2-3 grand. Like you just buy it, you have it forever, not a monthly thing, right?
Yeah.
And the monthly payment was twofold. One is because of gym memberships. I was like, how do you hold people accountable that they have to do the work, right? Well, gym membership, right? Like if you're overweight, like what I saw today was, but if you're overweight and you want to lose weight, you get a gym membership, and a month goes by and you paid the month, but you never went and you were still overweight, like that's on you, right? It's not the gym's fault. So that was part of it, the psychological part of it. Number two is that I heard Shaquille O'Neal give a talk about he has his own brand of tennis shoes. and he wanted to make kids shoes. And did you hear this?
I think you did.
Yeah,
tell
I think
me
it,
this.
yeah. So he wanted to make kids shoes, but he wanted them to be like $19. But he's like, they can't look like $19 shoes. They have to be you have to want to wear them. I don't want them being ashamed going to school wearing them. I want them to want to show them off, but I want them to be affordable. I want everybody to be able to afford these shoes. And the guy, I can't remember which show this was on, but I remember him talking about, like profit margins and like, how did you get through that? How did you get around that? And his words, like I can literally watch him saying this. He said, I didn't give a damn about profit margins because I believed if you genuinely tried to help as many people as possible, the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah.
Those literally were the words that changed my mindset of what went on to Retrieve Romance. So I remember walking in. It was me and Brett and Whitney at the time that were like meeting of like, how are we going to build this thing? And we were all talking about like, I don't know, is it $3,000? Is it $4,000? Is it like, that's what the numbers we're talking about. I remember walking in and I was like, it's $29 a month. And Brett was like, no. And I was like, well, this isn't your choice. Like, this is what this, like, and not in a very nice way. I didn't say it like that, right? But I was like, no, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And like, Brett was legitimately mad.
Oh my
But
gosh.
in the moment, like, he had actually gone through and had been a part of this whole thing, right? So he'd watched how much work went into it, all the videos, all the time, all the buildings. Like, he'd seen it all.
Right.
Like, you're too close to it. Like, you can't see it, right? So anyway, that's where the spring promotion came in.
Yeah.
Waving the 199 was like, we literally sat back down. I was like, what do you want to do this year? I want to help as many people as you possibly can. Okay, because that's been the common trend. Like, and you've seen it. When people say like they're a member, they like it's a community.
It is.
So how do we bring as many people in as possible? Let's just make it more affordable, right? So that's where it is. But it's the spring train energy is kind of like, all right, I want to do something.
Yeah.
So where this brings me to with the obedience side of this is I've had a lot of people. Okay, it's weird. Like, I always hear people say, like, oh, I've had a lot of people ask. I'm like, yeah, well, I bet you did. Like, your mom and who, right?
Yeah.
Like not many people. But you've seen that we
Yeah.
get a lot of messages, right? A lot of questions, both on social, emails, phone calls, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting how many recently have been obedient driven. And when I say obedience driven, they don't realize it's obedience driven, but it is, right? So we have people that are like, my dog's not, coming right back to me on retrieves. Oh, that's obedience, right? My dog is not wanting to run a straight line, and so much of this comes back to obedience, and it's the one thing everybody wants to skip. It's the one thing everybody wants to go over, and especially this time of year. What I'm going to encourage you guys is that I think now more than ever, it's more crucial that you spend more time on obedience right now. Because you're coming off the season, which naturally, as I've talked about before, I truly believe hunting season unravels training season. You go into more uncontrolled situations. It's not a training setup, so it's going to unravel, right? So then you come back and you go into a training scenario. You are not going to pick up where you left off in August before you start a season in now March. So you have to take steps back, and obedience is the absolute best way to do that because it gets you guys speaking the same language again. It gets you on a routine again. It tightens up any of the loose ends that naturally happened over the season, and it gives you that foundation that you can make sure is solid again to build on off of. You are not going to make the progress you are looking for if your obedience is not so solid, and that obedience never stops. It never changes. We're going into advanced, dogs, right? Our advanced class is going to be coming in here in a couple months. And that's one thing that I told everybody. Like, I'm excited for your dog to come in. I'm excited to work with you, but you will not have a finished dog after this advanced program. And I want us to be on the same page on it because they're not robots. They're not going to go home completely polished, completely done. They're programmed the right way. They're going to stay that way. You need to take ownership in keeping that going. I have some of my most special dogs that I have. Brock being a great example of this. If I would have taken Brock and been like, all right, year 1, year 2, year 3, you're done, you're finished, you're golden, he wouldn't be the dog he is today. It was an ever-changing evolution of training and taking a step forward and taking a step back and taking 2 steps forward and then a half step back and then a big leap and then like it's this back and forth. And now he's 9, and I can say I still have plenty to work with this summer, to get him back to where I think he should be.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting how obedience tends to be the one thing that continues to be overlooked. So just want to throw that out there. So, okay. So we have what I feel like is some heartbreaking news.
Yeah.
But do you want me to say it or do you want to say it?
You got it.
I got it. Okay, so Miss Erin, who we adore at the kennel, who has become what I think is a big part of this show, is going to be taking advantage of another opportunity that came her way, and so she will no longer be here. And so we have nothing but amazing things to say about Erin. We love her dearly, and so we're gonna miss her like crazy. But at the same side, we are all extremely supportive of her and what she's gonna do. And so we wish you nothing but the best. But this is going to be your last episode.
Yeah, kind of sad.
So I wanted to make this an Erin episode. And so the funny thing is, like, I actually had this like idea that I thought would have been hilarious, which I wanted to make you like your own like work Instagram account and have it be like Erin from The Office. And I thought it would have been hilarious to be like,
because there is an Erin from The Office, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
So, are you not an Office watcher?
I've seen a few episodes, but I never like consistently watched it. But I thought it was hilarious and all the things. But.
Right? I think it would have been so awesome to have an Erin from The Office account.
Yeah.
And then like everything you did like through here, like the creative side of things, like I don't know. I just think it would have been hilarious to have that. And so
that would have been fun.
Yeah. So anyway, what I want to do is I want to have an Erin centric episode and kind of like a last hurrah kind of thing. Yeah. And want to go over what is so interesting to me is how you came into this. And so I want to kind of talk about what led you to the kennel, what brought you in here. But one thing that I'll throw in there is I knew from day one that Erin was overqualified to be at the kennel from day one, to the point that if you recall this during our interviews, I think, did you do 2 rounds of interviews and then hired on the 3rd one?
I think, yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. So I think it was the last one when I actually hired you.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, we had multiple candidates, and Erin was by far the one that we liked the most. But I was like, she's gonna be bored here. Like, she should be like at some like Fortune 500 company, and she should be like doing this. Like, I don't like, why does she want to be at the kennel? And I literally asked you that question.
Yeah. When
I hired you, like right before I hired you, I was like, why do you want this job? Like, because I was so afraid that you're gonna like be here for like 2 weeks and be like, this is like dog kennel, and leave. And you've been an absolute blessing, to have here. But I do think that it's kind of a fun path that you've taken, from where you were to where you are now. And so, first off, for those of you that don't, or for those that don't know you, give us a little background of what led you to the kennel, and then kind of like just your role that you've had at the kennel currently.
Yeah. So my husband and I, before we got married, we got a dog 6 months into dating.
Because that's the logic thing to do.
Yep. And my husband's always been a super big hunter. He has horrible asthma, so he wanted a hypoallergenic dog. So he's a wired hair pointing Griffon. And Brady always thought that we kind of knew he might have been like had some like noise sensitivity stuff. So Brady brought him over to, I don't know exactly who, but they basically just like shot a gun over him, like didn't think anything, was like, yep, he's gun shy. Like,
I remember that conversation.
Yeah. And he was so sad about it, obviously, because he like was super happy like to have a hunting dog. And then somehow he got connected to you from someone at his work, and then you guys made a really great connection. Finding out that you guys both went to the same school for baseball. And so we sent Indy in. I don't know if he was successful during that time.
He was successful from the nose side of it, just not
Yes.
from the pointing side of it.
Yes, not the pointing side. But now, like, we figured he outgrew that. He loves to hunt now. So Brady kind of made a connection with Josh that way. I would say they are pretty good friends and still stay in touch all the time. And so I graduated from Bethel, and then it was really hard for me to find a job during COVID. So then I decided to actually go back to dental hygiene school, just to have like a promising job that's always needed. And then Brady and I were about to get married, and then Josh said that he was looking for someone to do communication stuff at the kennel, and that just like really like stuck with me. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to like be done with school right now again. And then the more I thought about it, the more I just like really wanted that for us. So that's kind of what led me to Riverstone.
It's so funny looking back on it because, so first off, I didn't know that he got Indy like 6 months into dating.
Yes.
Which, if you really look back on it, is a genius move on his part, because then like you couldn't leave. Like,
Exactly.
he had
I was
you,
stuck.
Right? So genius, evil genius, but genius nonetheless. And how, I don't remember this. How did you find out that we were going to look for somebody for that role?
So Brady, I think he wanted to come see like puppies or something, and I came over to, and then you said something to Brady like, you should talk to her about
That's right.
applying
That's
or like
right.
considering.
Okay, I do remember
this.
that now. Yeah. So I couldn't remember, and your husband has this like crazy way of knowing everything about everyone.
Yeah,
like,
it's insane.
We'll go into a restaurant in the middle of absolute nowhere, and he'll know 5 of the 8 people in there, or at
Yeah.
least know who they are, where they're from, what they do for a living. And I'm just like, what in the
Yep.
world, man? Like, it's pretty crazy. So, it's just funny how life just kind of brings people, together.
For sure.
And I truly believe that God just puts certain paths in front of you at certain times.
Mm-hmm.
Like the right people are in your life at the right times, and even the wrong people are in your life at the right times. Like when
Yeah.
you look back on it, like some of the people I certainly consider the wrong people, they're probably in my life at the right time to teach me the lessons that I needed to be taught. Right.
Yeah.
And so hopefully I was one of the right people in your
Oh,
life, not the
yes,
wrong
you
people.
were.
But I do believe that it was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
Just everything happened for a reason.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, okay, so what have you basically done at the kennel?
Yeah, so my roles at the kennel, I do all of our client communication with dogs coming in for training. I'll schedule when they come in, making sure we set aside time to talk with them, build a relationship with them, and then I'll send photos and updates. Maybe not as much updates because Dave does all the training, but just like fun updates like, oh, they're settling in great. I also do like all of our making sure all the dogs are getting settled in the back, making sure they're in the correct kennel run, so we don't have dogs getting mixed up or anything like that when they go home. I schedule our chore team.
Which can be a full-time job
Yeah.
in itself.
Our chore team, so they come in when we're not there to take care of the dogs. And then I kind of just help out too, or ever needed. I'll help Dave train, Whitney if she needs any puppy stuff. Kind of all over the place.
Yeah, you definitely do a lot. Yeah, that's for sure. So, just kind of looking back at your time with the kennel, there's some things I'm interested in. So what, I'll kind of give you 2 questions at once here.
Okay.
But as you look back, first off, how long were you here? 2 years?
I think it'll be... No, it'll be 2 years. It would be 2 years in June.
Okay. So
a
2
little chunk of time.
2 years, yeah. And that's great. 2 years. So for 2 years, you went from, other than Indy, really not being around dogs much. Is that fair to say?
Yep. I loved them, but just like not around them.
Yeah, and then you're around them.
Yeah,
right?
and I never grew up with dogs either, too. So
this was a definite lifestyle change for sure.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, what was your favorite thing about the kennel?
I think from like a breeder standpoint, I think it's really cool how intentional you and Whitney are with picking the right sire for a family based on like genetics. I think it's really cool seeing all of our puppies come back into training and seeing how similar or different they are from their litter mates. I think that's really cool. And just so thought out as well.
I love that because that is kind of one of those behind the scene things that nobody really sees.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
And there are times that, we try to be, as you said, I love the word intentional because that's exactly what it is, right? So when we have a strike and sunny litter, I don't know why that one pops into my head, but when we have the strike and sunny litter, it's not, well, hey, we have 5 black males, so let's just take the 5 top people on the black male list, right?
Yeah.
It's literally trying to, who's the best fit for this litter based on what we know about this litter.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes, we do get some pushback on that, right? Some people want a certain stud dog for an exact certain reason, even though we can tell them like, hey, you want this. That's not what this puppy's likely going to be. And oftentimes we see that later on, right? People are like, oh gosh, you were right. Like they were more energy than what I wanted or whatever it is. But I think it's so neat when they do come back, how often people say like, I think people think Whitney's like some like voodoo witch,
For
person.
sure.
Because they're like, she practiced so perfect and so right. And it's like, yeah, it was intentional.
Yep.
Right.
And just like the client questionnaires that you guys give people for just finding the right dog for their lifestyle too, on both ends, I think just super well thought out and fun to see all the dogs come back into training.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So now let's flip side it.
Okay.
What is your least favorite thing about the kennel?
I would say just because all the dogs that usually come in are in for a big chunk of time, I would say building a really good relationship with the dog and then having to send them back home.
That's a
But
really
it's
good
always,
one.
that's also like such a rewarding part too, is seeing them just like just get it like excited when their owners come to see them and visit and do check-ins and all of that. So.
Right. I love that one too because like I always feel like it's sappy to say it.
Yeah.
But it's a real thing. I mean, that dog is a major part of your life for 3 weeks to 4 months, depending on what they're in for. Like when that dog goes home, it does feel like a hole is missing in your day.
For sure. Yeah.
And especially like, so for like my advanced class, especially, I don't know why. I think it's because it's a smaller class. We spend so much time together. Like I remember even just last year, I mean, me sending like text messages to owners being like, Rip was wonderful. Like, how's Rip? How's Rip doing? Oh, I miss Rip. And like, I know that I'm sure people are just like, okay, whatever. Like, but it's real.
Yeah.
Like it really is. You absolutely notice they're gone. And there are certain dogs that you just gravitate to.
For sure.
And they are hard to miss.
Yeah, definitely. So that's my least favorite part for sure.
I love that part of it. Okay, so my next one is, what is something that you have learned since being here?
I would say from a small like business standpoint, growing business, but just like small, just seeing all sides of everything that goes on. From all of your ideas and like Whitney's breeding stuff to like training stuff at the kennel, like there's just so much going on, and I feel like a lot of people don't see that, and I think I learned a lot from just seeing all sides and being involved with that too.
I think that's super neat. Yeah, because as you learned very quickly, my entrepreneurial mindset just can't ever shut off.
Yes, like, and you said like you thought I'd get bored, but I was never bored. There was always something going on.
I never give you an opportunity to be bored. That's why. I think from that's really interesting. I'm glad that you enjoyed that part of it because it's I was fortunate enough to watch one person in particular that had a very driven entrepreneurial mindset and learned so much from him as far as like what it takes, what you have to weather through, right? Because like this is not all sunshine, and you've seen both sides of it. You've seen the very frustrating times, and you've seen the very high side, right?
Yeah.
And it's everybody sees the high side, right? Like the low side nobody sees because one, nobody wants anybody to see it. And then 2, if it's not successful, it's never able to be seen anyway,
For
right?
sure.
But you've seen it. Like, you've seen, were you working when Roadmap was launched?
I think it was you launched it like right before I started, maybe.
I think like a month or 2 before you started.
Yeah.
So you've almost seen Retriever Roadmap in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, just think about from when you first started and me, like, I probably maybe did this too much, like grinding away on like trying to like build the community and build all that to now, seeing 50 people at a strike team training day or 100 plus people at Strike Force. Like, and you saw both of that,
Yep.
so it's kind of a neat roller coaster to watch.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was really fun to see you in your exciting
My element.
mindset. Yeah.
It is.
It's motivational.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It is what I love. I mean, it's love. I've told everybody basically as long as I can remember that I feel like I'm an entrepreneur that had a talent in dogs, not a dog trainer that is like trying to be entrepreneurial, right? I
For
just
sure.
I feel like there's that side of it, and I enjoy that side of it. I love brand building. I love taking something from my idea and building it into something.
Yep.
And quite frankly, I think that's what I love about dog training too, is taking, from us, it's like, hey, the idea that this litter could be something, and then have the puppy, place him with the right owner, and then you start looking forward of like the step by step, right? So like bird and gun introduction, and then you go through obedience, and then you go through intermediate, and then you go through, and just like watching, like when you send a dog home from advanced, and for most people it's the dog of a lifetime, like I always want a dog that could do this.
Yeah.
And you look back and you're like, I remember sitting at the kitchen table with Whitney, like saying, hey, I think this would be a good match for breeding, and so
it's a full circle moment.
it is, for sure.
Yeah.
It is. So I love that side of it. Okay, so I've got 2 more.
Okay.
Something behind the scenes that you would like to share that maybe obviously behind the scenes is something that people don't see. So what's something at the kennel that you either find interesting or rewarding, or what's something behind the scenes that you feel like you'd like to share? Like, what's something that somebody doesn't know about that happens at the kennel?
I would say, I think working at the kennel is seriously like such a lifestyle. And a lot of people, maybe they do understand that, but it like truly is like you and Whitney's and your kids, like you guys do such a great job at like living out the life that you guys want to live. Yeah, I would say that.
I it's so interesting too, because I guess I look at it as a lifestyle, but it's like, because it's just been a lifestyle forever, I don't like open. But basically, if you think about it, like we're ranchers. We're just ranchers for dogs, not cattle.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a 24/7 job. Always something going on.
Yeah.
There's always, whether there's somebody having puppies like this morning.
Yeah.
There's somebody not feeling good that needs to be cared for. There's somebody that has, some kind of hiccup somewhere. There's always something.
Yep.
And you're right. Like I think a lot of times, I quite frankly, I think that's what kills people when they come into this business, is not understanding that.
For sure.
Because they see some cool stuff on social media. It's like, oh, that'd be a cool job. And there's no credentials to make, like anybody could start a kennel tomorrow.
Right.
Right. But to truly do it right, it has to be the lifestyle.
For sure.
That's
yeah.
Super interesting. So was that eye-opening when did it hit you in your time here that it was that? Was it like right away? You were like, oh my gosh, or was it like over time?
I think over time too, like even before I started working at Riverstone, I was like, oh, like who's like taking care of the dogs when like they're not there? Like it was always just like a big question. But I think too, like being there in person, seeing how much work Whitney puts into all of her puppies and all of the litters, and you like dealing with all the other sides of the business, it truly is like such a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I feel like only a few people could do it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I think that's a really neat observation.
Yeah.
And one that, now that you say that, I probably have to be pretty intentional with my kids, because, they're in the lifestyle. Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't notice it. They don't notice it. But, the separation of work and home life, it is really tough. And I've started to just put my phone away at 4.
Yeah.
So kids are back. Kids are back usually at I think they're done at 2:30ish, from school. I wish I could put it away at 2:30. I can't. But at 4, I put my phone away. And I get work calls, I get texts, and I do, once in a great while, I'll slip up and make an exception. But I really try to be dad at that point. Because, as you know, we start so early, and I'm gone before they get up.
Right.
So if I don't be intentional about that evening time, it's just so easy to let the lifestyle just consume us. And I think it's a great lifestyle to have. I was just literally looking at the kids the other day. So have you been down to the house since they cleared off the area?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been?
It looks different.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it looks different. But they've been out there. So we're putting in a riding arena where we'll keep her calves, have the horses. Ava's ecstatic because she'll finally have her horses at her house. But we're putting in this new riding arena, and we have this big area that we cleared out. And anyway, I was just watching, yesterday, the kids, and they're out there running around, playing in the dirt, and just screwing off. And Ava, so Ava's gonna be 5 here in a couple weeks, and I told her that if she could shoot our little 410 at the target and get good enough at it, that she could go to Missouri and turkey hunt with me. Well, sure enough, she did. She practiced. She got good at it. Now I'm there with her, right?
Yeah.
But we did that, and then they went and they were running around the dirt and throwing dirt around and playing over by the excavator. And I don't know, it just kind of hit me. I'm like, there's a lot worse lifestyles that kids could have.
Yeah.
And so I was
So
really
fun.
thankful. I was really thankful. But I think that's a really good point of, maybe I have to be intentional the other way too, not get wrapped up in the lifestyle. I'm trying to be,
Yeah.
but it'll be a conscious.
Yeah. No, I think you do a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so last thing is, what will you miss the most?
I think just the community of people and the people I've built relationships with, especially you guys. I think I'll miss being there every day because you and Whitney have been such great role models for me. And I think too, just regular clients that I won't get to see as much anymore.
Yeah.
So,
well,
heartbreaking.
I know. I can tell you that every one of us, we all love you. We all care about you. We want you to go have a very, very successful life, and whatever that is. And I know that we'll stay in touch. And that's what's cool about, we're a small business, right? But I feel like we run this in a way that I would hope that you never felt like a quote unquote employee. You were just a part of the team, a part of the family.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that changes, especially like this. I'm sure everybody can tell, this is something that I hate it, but at the same time I love it because it's an opportunity that you should go take advantage of. Yeah. And I could tell it was hard for you to tell me that this was happening, but that, to me, what I love about that is that you care. It's shoot, we've had this same conversation with somebody sending a text message, which is the absolute wrong way, to handle this. Let's not be anti-confrontational, but rather let's make sure that our relationship doesn't fall apart because of a change in life. And I think that's great. So, I can tell you, for me, I will continue to be your number one fan as you go through and do everything in life, and I'm sure everybody at the kennel can kind of echo that. So, so if anyone would like to reach out and send Erin best wishes, you have the next couple weeks to do that, and then she won't be able to answer your emails anymore. So so Erin, as we wrap this up, thank you for everything you've done. We've loved every second having you here, and we can't wait to see what you do in life.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for letting me work at the kennel.
Well, we'll miss you,
so
but
fun.
I know it's not goodbye. It's just good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
So, all right, you guys. Well, we'll wrap this up as we have some stuff we have to get back to the kennel and go do. But I just felt like this was kind of a cool opportunity to give some insight, and we don't have time, unfortunately. We didn't do our fish. We gotta do one.
Okay.
Do one
We can do
fishbowl.
one.
Yeah, do one fishbowl because we have a few minutes.
Okay, perfect. I will do one that actually is kind of fitting for you than what we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
It said, if you had to do a career change, what would you do?
That is super interesting. So, my easy one would be I would love the luxury to just go rodeo and just worry about that.
Yeah.
Not worry about the other side of it, not worry about I have to worry about the financial side to support to this expensive hobby that I'm doing because it's not like I'm up there in the money column winning all this money. I would love that, but I'll tell you what, I don't know if I would love that as a career change. And I say that because, for the dog side of it, I got into dogs because I'm very passionate about waterfowl hunting. But I can honestly say that I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but it's the truth is that I look at waterfowl hunting as work now. I don't look at it as an escape. I don't look at it as a getaway. I don't look at it as fun time. I look at it as I need to get my dogs in a situation. I need to get content out of this situation, show the dogs off. And it's a love, but in a different way. Like, yeah, I love my work, but that's different than an escape. And so as much as I'd love to do that, I also don't know if I would love it to be my career because of that, because then it puts all this pressure on. Like right now, I go to a rodeo, and if I win, awesome. If I place, great. If I don't care, right? Like, I mean, I do because I'm competitive, but I don't care as far as like, I'm not counting the dollars of like, all right, it took me this much in gas, this much in entry fees, this much in this stuff, and I, just didn't get anything back. Like, I don't want it to be a career like that for me.
Yeah.
So if I were to do a career change, I'll tell you what it would be. It would be motivational speaking.
Yes, I could see
love
that.
Yeah, I've only got to do one paid speech,
Okay.
but I loved it.
Yeah.
But that's also what I love about the seminars, so much. And I just missed Pheasant Fest. I didn't go to Great American this year. I'm actually cutting way back on the shows just because of the time that it takes, and there's a lot of things going on with the pheasant ranch and everything else going on. But motivational speaking is what it'd be
that's
for
a
me.
good answer.
Yeah. So what would yours be?
I don't know actually.
And you can't say working at Riverstone.
I know.
Right?
Trying to think.
What's your dream job?
Because I love music so much, I don't even know if this is like a job, but it'd be so fun to like make playlists for like certain events or like in a store somewhere or like something like that.
I bet that is a job.
I don't know what it's called, but
that is so interesting that you're passionate enough about it that you're like, that's what I would like to do.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
I love playlists.
Huh. I'm sure it is a thing. I don't know if it's a thing, but I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I should look.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do one more since we have some time.
Okay, and then let's see. We'll do this one. What is your favorite non-hunting thing to do with your dogs?
So my favorite non-hunting thing to do with my dogs. I do really enjoy going on walks with them. I know it's a weird thing to say, but the reason I love going on walks with them is because, again, it's everything I do with my dogs feels like work. And it feels like somebody's watching. It feels like I can't even post a video. This is a little bit of a, as you can tell, my inflection came up. This is kind of a hot spot. I can't take a single video. And like sometimes I just like to show like the personal side of things. Like, hey, here's some dogs goofing around or running around. Whatever. Like, I can't post one of those without there being some smartass that comes back with some smartass comment about like how the gun dogs should be working. They should be like, give me a break, man.
Oh, that's frustrating.
It's so frustrating. Like, we can't just live our like life as far as like these dogs are also part of our family.
Yeah.
Super frustrating. Anyway, soapbox done. I do really love the walks just because I think it just makes it real again. Like, let's just go on walks. I'm not going to ask you to heel. I'm not going to ask you to do anything. Just go run, go have fun, and I can just be present with you in a very lighthearted fashion.
Yeah.
I really like that. Did you ever hear the story about, I can't remember if I told it on here, and I don't think I did. Did you ever hear the story about Whitney going for a ride on Willie and Ranger running? Okay, you got to hear the story. So Whitney, as many of you know, I used to field trial off horseback with pointers. Ranger being one of those pointers. Ranger was a very successful pointing dog off horseback. Like, won many field trials. The guy was an absolute stud. He's 9 now. So he loves running with the horses because that's what when he saw horses, he was like, oh my gosh, we get to go, right? He had to have that connection. So when we would go ride Willie, Whitney always wanted to bring Ranger because she's like, Ranger would love it. I'm going to go for a long ride, whatever. Well, at this time that this happened, we only had the one horse, right? Okay. So we only had Willie. So if Whitney went for a ride, the kids and I were walking or we were just hanging out or something like that. So anyway, we go out in this big field, and which, is John's field where we had Strike Force.
Yep.
So we get Willie, get him all tacked up. I do what I'm going to do. Then Whitney's going to go take him on a ride, but she just wanted to bring Ranger in the worst way, which that's great.
Yeah.
Right? So the kids and I are back there, and in the back field is probably like a 40-acre field, and Whit's running, Ranger's running all over the place because he just loves that he's out running with the horse again. And they're kind of like walking, a little bit of a trot, maybe, but more of a walk, Willie and Whit. And all of a sudden, Ranger comes flying up behind Willie on his left-hand side and runs in front of him, right? Like, straight away, it runs in front of him. And I'm watching all this from, 80 yards away. And I see Willie's ears perk up and his body language change. And all of a sudden, he's as fast as he can go chasing Ranger.
Oh, my gosh.
And when I saw his ears perk up, I could tell. I'm like, he thinks he's a calf.
Oh, my gosh.
And Willie went into work mode like, I'm supposed to chase this calf. And he was as fast as he could go. And Whitney is like, hold on to the horn. Like, her eyes are like saucers, like, whoa, like as fast as he could go. And Ranger then looks over his shoulder, sees Willie bearing down on him. So he tucks his tail and he's running. So it was just chaos. Well, Whitney finally was able to figure out what was going on, stop him, get him under control. But it was funny how he saw that and was like, work mode, boom, I got to get you in position to rope. And it was just, oh my gosh, it was hilarious. So that was our latest walk. But it was,
that's funny.
and you can
I
picture
hope
Whitney
recovered.
Oh, yeah, and because you can picture Whitney in the situation, right? It was hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Only Whitney. So what is your favorite thing to do with your dogs outside of work?
I would also say, well, we're moving to a different house soon, and just seeing how happy they are just running in the backyard, just playing with each other. I think I just love watching our two dogs play and run and not have to worry about it. I don't know, they just are so happy there.
That's great.
So it makes me excited to be there soon. But.
Yeah, isn't that funny how a scenery change can just it's just different, right?
Yep. And so I would say just watching them play and just be dogs together.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, we should wrap this up. But again, thank you for everything you've done for us here, for me personally, for Whitney personally, for all the clients. Everybody loves you, and we cannot wait to see what you do from here.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot.
So, all right. Thank you, Erin, for everything, and hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. And we'll be coming at you soon. I'm heading back down to the Pheasant Ranch, so it may be from the Pheasant Ranch that the next episode is from, but I'll be coming back to you shortly. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Leave us a review on iTunes, and a special thank you to Yukonuba, because without them, we couldn't do what we do here, bringing this information to you.